Good afternoon, everybody. Josh Krupp, 13 ABC, back here on Action News now with some breaking news that is just coming into our newsroom, a story that we've been following very closely over the course of the last week or so. A missing Sylvania Township woman is the victim of a homicide, according to Sylvania Township authorities. Police had been searching for 53-year-old Nicole Jones, whose son faces charges stemming from the kidnapping of an Ohio girl. The two of them were found in Mexico. Earlier this week, we learned from U.S. Marshals. We were first telling you about the situation in Sylvania Township earlier this week whenever our crew saw BCI crews, crime scene units, investigators out at the Joneses' home there in Sylvania Township. They had been looking for 53-year-old Nicole Jones, and at one point, Sylvania Township police told us that they believed that she was harmed after they started to investigate her home there. There is still a lot of information that we don't know about this, and we'll walk you through this together as we're going to piece through the information as we are learning it here together. The Canton, Ohio Police Department asked Sylvania Township Police on May 5th to check on the safety of a woman who lives there, 7400 block of Timbers Edge Boulevard. That is where Jones lives. Officers went there along with U.S. Marshals Service. They did not find the woman. A news release just out from the Sylvania Township Police Department says that subsequent information gathered has now indicated that Ms. Jones is the victim of a homicide. They do not say if her body is found, and they do not say how she is, how they know that she's the victim of a homicide. They don't say how she was killed. But they do say that they're in the process of obtaining an arrest warrant for one person in connection to her murder. Who that person is has not been released yet. We do know that her son is currently in police custody, somebody that we were telling you about last week. And we'll get into the charges that he faces here in just a moment. Jonathan Robert Jones is his name. In addition to the one person who they already have an arrest warrant out for, police say that other people they anticipate will face charges at a later date. The investigation remains ongoing, and Sylvania Township Police will release more information as they get it. Investigators in this investigation have been fairly tight-lipped up to this point about what they are looking for in the Joneses' home. As we were showing you those images, we'll show you them again from earlier this week whenever BCI was out there and going through their house with their crime scene unit. This is Jonathan Robert Jones. 33-year-old was arrested in Mexico in connection to the alleged kidnapping of a 17-year-old girl reported missing from Canton, Ohio. We were telling you about that over the weekend whenever we got word from the U.S. Marshals Service that the two of them were together, that federal agents were searching for that man and for the teenager who they said was endangered at the time. Statement from Sylvania Township Police today does not say who the suspect is. They do not say if Jones is the suspect in the murder of his mother. But this is his mother, we can confirm, who is now the victim of a homicide, according to Sylvania Township Police. This is the web story that we had earlier this week whenever we learned that the kidnapping suspect was arrested, 33-year-old Jonathan Jones. U.S. Marshals said they arrested him and found that missing 17-year-old in Mexico. They did not disclose anything about the teenager's condition or why they were there in Mexico. U.S. Marshals said that he was wanted by Wood County Sheriff's deputies for pandering obscene material and child endangerment. A separate sheriff's office in Arizona, I know there's a lot of moving parts here, a separate Sheriff's Department in Arizona said over the weekend that Jones was wanted on a kidnapping warrant, that they were given that information, that they were putting out information about the car that they were traveling in, which was a Buick Encore that was registered to Jones's mother. So let's back up. That was a lot that we just went through there. Over the weekend, we learned that Jones, and I'll show you him again, Jonathan Jones was with an endangered missing teenager from Canton, Ohio. The two of them were found in Mexico. Unclear why they went there. At one point, Authorities said that he had a kidnapping warrant. He for sure had warrants out of Wood County on pandering, obscene material, and child endangerment. They did not say if that was stemming from this same incident or if that was from a separate incident. Sheriff's office in Arizona said that they were last seen traveling in his mother's car. And today we are learning that his mother is the victim of a homicide. That's the word just into the newsroom from Sylvania Township Police. Sylvania Township Police just releasing that information. So a lot still to unpack about this story. A lot of details still need to be ironed out as investigators continue to try and figure out what happened. We still are trying to figure out all of the charges that this guy faces, and he obviously faces charges in a number of jurisdictions and potentially federal charges, as the U.S. Marshals were involved here. He crossed state lines. He went into Mexico, according to authorities, with that endangered teenager whose condition we don't know. We don't know how many charges Jones is ultimately going to face in how many different areas, if he'll face charges in Arizona, where a sheriff's department was searching for him. If the charges in Wood County were the only ones initially levied against him for pandering obscene material, if that kidnapping charge was miscommunication from a sheriff's office, or if there is a kidnapping charge on there. So we don't have a full rap sheet on him. Again, investigators have been fairly tight-lipped on a lot of this process. Yesterday, we learned that his mother was considered missing a couple days after, or a day after, they were searching her home. They believed at the time yesterday that she had been harmed, but police did not say how they thought that she had been harmed or to what extent she had been potentially harmed. They also didn't release a photo of Nicole Jones, the 53-year-old who is now considered the victim of a homicide. They said that they were continuing their search. They went to her home as part of a welfare check. They were checking on the safety of Nicole Jones, who lives there, 7456 Timbers Edge Boulevard. That's where we were at earlier this week whenever we saw state investigators there searching the home. So the Sylvania Township Police Department and agents from the U.S. Marshal's Office went into the home there. They did not find Jones. They also don't say why they got BCI involved and why BCI agents were there, what they were looking for. So clearly a lot of unanswered questions here, but what we do know is that there is one suspect who police are getting a warrant for, an arrest warrant for one person for Nicole Jones's homicide. Her son right now is in custody, stemming from that trip to Mexico, or whatever you want to call it, with the endangered teenager from Canton, Ohio. Found in Mexico, arrested, so he is in custody. Last seen in Arizona at last check last weekend, traveling in his mother's vehicle down there near the state line. Investigators have not released the name of the person who they are pursuing murder charges against in connection to Nicole Jones's death. As soon as we get that piece of information, we will pass it along. Authorities say it is anticipated. I'll quote this directly from the press release that we just got, the information from Sylvania Township Police. It is anticipated that additional charges will be filed against other suspect or suspects at a later date. The severity of those charges not outlined there either. So I know a lot of information to go over. We have the full story right now published on 13abc.com, where you might be watching this video right now as we're breaking down this information just as it's coming into our newsroom. We're continuing to update this web story, where you'll find future updates as we continue to get further information. That concludes this special report on 13ABC Action News Now. I'm Josh Krupa. We're back on TV at 4 o'clock with the latest on this story and more that develop throughout the rest of this day.